Good evening and welcome to another one of our weekly Facebook Lives. And we've got an absolute star of a man who we're going to be interviewing tonight. February was very much the month of the ladies. There was one man in there, but sometimes, anyway, I'll not say what I was going to say there. But tonight we have a gentleman who has been doing really well in his business in the last 12 months. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the amazing and the awesome Kevin Fettis. So welcome on board to our Facebook Live tonight, Kevin.
Wow, Spencer, what an introduction. Where did I go from there? Thanks for having me.
Down. No, I'm only kidding.
Not in this side gig. The only way is up. So.
Absolutely. Like that was, I'm trying to remember who did that. Only way is up. Is it Yazoo? Anyway, whatever.
No, I think it was actually. Yeah, it was.
Yazoo. There you go. Brilliant. Well, listen. For the benefit of everybody that's on tonight, firstly, Kevin is really nervous, and he's got nothing to be nervous about because I know none of you are going to give him hot. In fact, if you're on already, give him a little love heart so we can see that the love is out there to say we support you, or something along those lines.
Surely my mum's on. Surely she must be on.
Yeah, but you have to bribe your mum, don't you? Anyway, so Kevin, tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us about family, work. Tell us a little bit more so we get to understand who you are and what you do.
Yeah, cool. Well, like I say, Spencer, thanks for the fantastic introduction there. Talking about being nervous, I remember doing some Eric Worre training back in the day and being told to get out there, put videos up. And this is another example of getting out of my comfort zone. So here we go. What I should say though is when I did put videos up, other partners seemed to follow suit. So maybe I should be happy that indirectly I helped others without knowing it. So Go on, Kirsty and Sharon, go on to tell you, amongst others. Anyway, Spencer, you just said I'm a quantity surveyor to trade. So without wanting some listeners to disappear already, involves construction, the financial side of construction. What my role is these days has been given a budget to start and finish a project, and in layman's terms, the whole principle, I guess, is to make money with that budget, interact with subcontractors, procure painters, floorers, tilers, etc., and then hopefully at the end of the day, the money is there to be made. So it's a lot of police work, a lot of government work, and a lot of university work. So very varied work. Even I'll put my teeth back in. So I actually really enjoy that. I know I'm going to talk about my side gig, but I actually really enjoy that element of it, the interaction, the speaking to subcontractors, the speaking to clients, the people at work, and just it's probably something that a lot of people are suffering from right now, not being able not being able to have that interaction. I'm actually certainly feeling that way working from the house a lot of the time, but yeah, I really enjoy it. Anyway, who am I guess, and my journey to get where I am just now.
Tell us about family. You've got family as well, so you're a quantity surveyor to trade. Family.
So, married to Carol. We have 2 kids. Erin's 10, Riley's 5 at the moment. So Erin's certainly getting to an age of being a dad and having a 10-year-old daughter is certainly eye-opening, that's for sure. So
it gets better. Please tell me that's 25. Yeah, 25.
I might let her go out at 25, so that's fine. But yeah, going back to the start, I grew up in the Mountcastle area of Edinburgh, for those who know it. Loved it. My mum, my dad, my brother, Jimmy. I say that he's actually called John, but for some reason Jimmy has stuck, and that's what he's now known as. So fair enough. The local snooker hall, which was JP's at the time, to New Yorker. That was our local drinking establishment before going up to town to some strange places. School-wise, I went to Holyrood at Duddingston. It's actually interesting when I think back, Spencer, because the catchment area for Holyrood included like Gracemount, Gilmerton, Niddrie, Mountcastle, Craigmillar, so many very different backgrounds. And I actually think that it actually helped me and have some sort of real empathy and understanding towards different backgrounds. So as part of my side gig, that's been like priceless for me without really knowing it at the time when I was growing up. Left school in about 2001, and I really had to think hard when I left school. I think it was 2001. Went on to Napier University for marketing management, believe it or not. So never done the Hall's residence thing, although it did sound fun. But you mentioned the family already, and that is so important to me. So I think the novelty would wear off pretty soon with missing family. So never done that, but obviously saved a few quid by not doing that either. At the university, as part of my degree there, worked at Job Centre Plus for a while up at Lady Lawson Street. That was part of their marketing department. So finished uni, I thought, brilliant, I've got this bit of paper, this says I can do this job. Actually, turns out it didn't, because all the employers wanted 2 years experience, recent experience, want this and that. Just give me a chance. I can't have experience.
So many people can relate to that. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. So if you're in the same boat, think about this. I'll speak about this with a side gig, but the business venture that we have on the go, it couldn't be more opposite from that as a sort of message that it doesn't matter your background. There's opportunity to be had with us. And I'll definitely say, if anybody is watching this tonight, then get in touch. You've got nothing to lose. It's going to help me, that's for sure. Anyway, I took a few temp jobs in between uni. Obviously, I couldn't get a job at first. Still trying to get into marketing, but I eventually, believe it or not, went to be a trainee quantity surveyor for a small company called Peter Walker. They were at Balston Glen at the time. Spencer, you know that area. So previously to that, though, it's not something I would ever thought of going into, but mates who were Sparkies, Bickies, gas heat engineers, and I was like, do you know what, I know this is a professional role, but still, it's like, do you know what, the construction industry is not something I thought of, but I thought there must be some sort of longevity in that. So off I went and worked with him. Unfortunately, fast forward a year and redundancy hit me. But thankfully, I was at home at the time, living with mum and dad, so the impact wasn't as bad as it could have been. And relating it back to people now, what they're going through, the impact is obviously massive, which I felt as well now under different circumstances 10 years later, for furlough reasons, which we'll obviously come on to. But thankfully, like I say, I didn't have a mortgage to pay, etc. So back to my mum and dad's I went. I was probably quite lucky, though, in the time that the construction industry right then was pretty good. So I managed to get a job with Bar Construction not long after that. So they were primarily famous for building football stadiums. The Leith San Siro that is Easter Road, for example, was one.
Yeah.
I better watch I don't alienate people here, but there was Parkhead as well. But to name a few others. But I was involved in the sort of less glamorous side on the supermarkets. So we were building new builds for Tesco and Sainsbury's and like. But again, it was so different from what I'd experienced. So being in that position, off I went back to uni again because I really liked it. So they sent me back to do quantity surveying this time. Thankfully, they paid for me, which was great. And what was really fantastic was because it was day and a half release. So I was getting the experience on site, but at the same time I was getting the theory at university, almost comparing the two and seeing what was true when you're getting taught by somebody who's not been in practice for maybe 20 years or so. But it helps me not come out green, whereas others were coming out with that bit of paper that I was like 4 or 5 years ago in the other degree, whereas I was right into a job. So 4 years later at that time, come out with my dissertation complete and a first class honours degree in my hand. So basically right into a job because I was already with them. In between times, got married to Carol and we had Erin in 2010, like I say. And also should say, actually, for those who might be asking, she's looking at making an appearance at the quiz this Friday too. So my wee side chick. So she's looking forward to that.
Excellent.
So 2012 came and the credit crunch really was sort of taking a grip. I didn't know what the credit crunch was at the time, to be honest, with a bit of naivety. So I had survived quite a few consultation periods. But eventually I got the tap on the shoulder or the letter through the door when I heard the postman knock and knew my time was up. So left there again, managed to stay in construction. I think I was lucky. 3 months later, the company I went to in Livingston, they were refurbishing Asda's and Morrison's and Co-ops. So the emergence of Aldi and Lidl meant that they had to keep their own stores up to date, even if they weren't doing new builds. It was important that their own stores were up to date. So fantastic. Had a really good time there. Lasted 6 years with a team below me. I was QS to senior QS then. Unfortunately, during that time, my dad passed away unexpectedly. Excuse me, at 67, and I was 32, Spencer. I don't. Well, first of all, I didn't think 67 was too old for my dad to die, and being 32 made me just wow. 32-year-old, I just lost my inspiration, basically. You know what I mean? My life, for want of a better word. So with family being so close to me, it really made me question everything. I'll use my mum as an example, that seeing her look after me for so long and seeing how she was with my dad passing, honestly, it felt like a role reversal, that I almost become like the parent, for want of a better word, and trying to get her through this horrific experience. She'll never get over it, but time passes, and it was important to get her through that initial period. And also, thankfully, through myself and a few other people, we did get her there, and she's getting on. She's getting on great. She's helped me in this side gig, as you probably know as well. So I'm over the moon that way. But sorry, back to work again. Just talking about my dad dying and that. It totally changed my outlook on life, and as it probably does for everybody. And what was important to me, family was always important to me, and looking after them. But did I really want to have that hours drive, like 2 hour drive really, across the Edinburgh City bypass to Livingston every day? I really didn't. So a change of scenery is what I wanted, and that's what I got. So where I'm at now, I'm currently working for a company that's Worksmart Contracts. They have an office in Kilmarnock, but we're at the Causeway side up by the Commonwealth Pool. So for me, that's so much easier. My 2 hour journey is now turned into 50 minutes an hour, rather than spending a lot of my life driving, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to on this. The last place you want to be is on that Edinburgh City bypass. So that changed everything for me. And I said it before, but I actually really like my job. I like the people, I like interacting. Everybody's story will be different. Some people won't like their job, so there's a reason for doing this. But my primary reason was family and looking after them, and knowing that there was that income to come later in life. Not that I'm wishing my life away, but I knew there is this residual income to come for Erin and Riley in this instance. And then just spending more time with Riley. Riley, we have some sort of, I wouldn't say learning issues with him, but it's challenging just now. So it gave me the opportunity to be closer with him and helping Carol out, rather than dealing with that herself. So there's so many opportunities with this side gig that you can do that with. So right now I'm obviously over the moon for a variety of reasons, but as we'll probably come on to. But being home and being with family is a biggie for me. So
brilliant.
Sorry, that's a long-winded way of but
it's interesting, and there was so many things within your journey, as you say, from being in school with very different catchment areas, so therefore the social demographics will be very, very different, which has allowed you to communicate with different people, and therefore you say you love being a quantity surveyor, and you are dealing with, in one extreme, tradespeople, to the people who you are working on behalf of to make sure the contract all works within budget, etc. And they can be two different types of conversations entirely. You have to have the skill sets to do that. So I think that's so relevant, for sure. Your dad passing away, and you've been able, and I suppose that's the key thing, is you've been in a position where you can take the time, because you're right. I'm exactly the same. I'm like my mum and dad. They brought me up, and I'm really grateful for what they've done. And when they need me, I want to make sure I can repay that 10 times over. So the fact you've been able to do that for your mum, I think, is the nicest thing you can possibly do. And we've got a number of viewers on just now. Send some love hearts. Put some thumbs up if you agree with that. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Of course,
it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And being able to reverse that, but something you touched upon, which I thought was particularly relevant, and obviously we'll come to how you got in doing the side hustle, the side gig, when you joined about a year ago and things like that. But one thing runs through your conversation is that your family is the heart of everything for you, I would say. Yeah, absolutely.
That's top to the list for sure.
Yeah, brilliant. So come on, folks, give them some love hearts. If you agree with that, send some love hearts. Yeah, there's people there. They need to send some love hearts to you, okay? But so listen, let's talk about your journey and your side hustle. I've been involved with this 15 years. Next month it'll be 15 years. Unbelievably how time flies by. But you've been involved for a year, okay? And as the heading said, seriously successful, if I could even say it properly, professional QS, quantity surveyor, takes this on board to get an income to pay for holidays. Now, most people would go, oh, a quantity surveyor, the ones that know what a quantity surveyor is, and glad you explained that, would go, surely he's on a really, really good income. And you're going to be on a reasonable income.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why would someone who's seriously successful really have to or feel necessary that he has to join and do a side hustle? So go and tell us a little bit about how you joined, why you joined, that side of things.
So it was actually my cousin, Andy Rayburn. I'm sure he'll be watching later on or is watching now, but he came and got in touch with me, explained what he was doing, went through the options I had with that side hustle, and do you know what? It just felt so simple, and I thought it's something I could really do. And at the time, we weren't doing the remote stuff as much as we are now, but it just felt so simple. And as you know, I'm a bit of a glass half full person and looking for catches.
Oh yes, by the way, you definitely thought there was catches to this, for sure.
I always think of that way first before actually accepting that there might not be. So I think if you can, as long as you can get them out of the way first, a bit more at ease. So yeah, he showed me what it was, and I thought I could really do this. We like our holidays. Our holidays being Tenerife seems to be our go-to for whatever reason, but it's great. We know the area, but yeah, it was getting dearer and dearer. Carol had started her own business doing beauty therapy, so we had she was mobile to people's houses clearly, and we had a room as part of an extension set up in the house to do that. So it wasn't that was to replace an income in any way, but actually inadvertently did become that as COVID hit. So it's one of those ones that wasn't set up to do that, but it did eventually help out massively between her loss of income and me being on furlough eventually. But primarily, people are right. Yeah, the QS role is a well-paid job. But I've seen it as something fairly straightforward. I could help myself and my kids and stuff and get a holiday, but I could actually see other people that were struggling too. It's not just sometimes a help yourself concept. It's very much, everybody knows people, and probably family more often than not, that are really, really struggling, to be honest. And it absolutely breaks my heart when I see people talking about work and how much they're struggling and don't want to be there, but they can't get anything else. They feel like if they move now, they'll just be away in, I don't know, a few weeks' time, which there might be that risk. But I'd honestly encourage anybody to come and speak to me or speak to you, speak to anybody who's in this group. There is opportunities out there to pay for rent, a mortgage payment, a car payment. Anything's going to help anybody right now. But I love. It's going to sound so cheesy, but I love seeing what people were having to outlay against what they can outlay, and that gives me just as much appreciation or enjoyment, I guess, as making what we can make. And I apologize if it does sound cheesy, but it is really true. There's a lot to be said for that, helping people rather than myself all the time. So if I can, then that's why I do it. So
Brilliant,
hopefully,
brilliant.
if that makes sense.
It does. So, just at the very beginning, you said about remote. So, for the benefit of others, what we did as a side hustle was on a face-to-face basis. Obviously, COVID came in. This time a year ago, we were still meeting people face-to-face. And then 3 weeks from today, the 23rd of March, is when lockdown happened 3 weeks ago. So it's 49 weeks ago today that lockdown happened. And then all of a sudden, our side hustle, our side gig went online, and we were able to adapt. And in fact, you mentioned earlier on about traveling. One thing that I found is I've got an app on my phone, and it's brilliant because it records my mileage for me, and I just swipe it left if it's business related and right if it's personal. And that way, for tax purposes, it's easy records. Do you know, up until, in fact, right up to today, from the 1st of January, I've driven 153 miles. Whereas the same 2 months last year, it was over 2,200 miles.
Wow.
Okay.
You probably walked more lately.
I have, actually. I think you're absolutely spot on, looking for my golf balls. But for those, I'm probably going to get a thumbs up or a love heart for that, folks, because that's true. On that golf course and looking for the wee smiley face at least. But do you know what that's meant, though? Is I worked out that I'm getting an extra roughly 8 or 9 hours a working week by not being in a car. Means I can, like you, impact more people. It means I have more flexibility. And this business, as you know, is designed to be done on a part-time basis.
Absolutely.
So 5 to 10 hours a week. And you're thinking, well, hold on, I'm not commuting anymore. Actually, hold on, I've got this spare time. I've got this spare time now that I can help others. But something you said, I'm a big fan. For those that don't know my background, financial services, ex-bank manager, financial advisor, mortgage broker. I love statistics, okay? The Financial Conduct Authority did a report in October. 22,000 people were surveyed to give a broad range of social demographics across the UK. And 1 in 10 people felt that income was so tight, they may need to go to a food bank. That's sobering.
It really is.
Our country, not a third world country,
and
I don't mean to be disrespectful to them, but 1 in 10 thought they didn't have enough money to just get food. The fundamental in life. Horrific. Sorry, go on.
I'm just going to say that's before even living. That's just purely to
survive.
Survive.
Survive. Not to thrive, but to survive. Yeah. 1 in 6 mortgage holders took a mortgage holiday last year. Now, if you think about it, eating is like a real high priority. It's kind of up there with oxygen. It's kind of needed, okay? But we all want a roof over our head. And yet 1 in 6, 3.2 million mortgages, this works out to be, had to take a mortgage holiday because of the income, because of furlough, because of redundancy. I even heard, as I was having my dinner tonight, that it was just in the background, I could hear it, that unemployment's at a 5-year high. And I've got news. I've got news for the news. That's going to get worse. The Chancellor admitted it. The Bank of England governors admitted it. Chancellor at the end of last year, the Bank of England governor at the beginning of this year. Midpoint of this year, they expect another 1 million people to lose their jobs. It's horrific out there. And you can understand how people are. So people like you, people like me who are helping people, on saving on essential outgoings that they've got to pay has got to be a good thing, for sure. And it comes back to the family. But listen, you joined. You didn't think COVID was going to come along. Nobody thought COVID was going to come along.
No.
Carol's lost her side hustle, side gig, her business. Yeah. So the money you've made has helped replace that and possibly topped it up, even for that matter. So that means you can't go on holiday. Or does it? Or does it?
Would you believe? Would you believe that this side gig, if I can announce this to everybody, has given me the opportunity to, and this is something I would never have been able to afford in my life, I'm now able to take my family of 4, including me clearly, for an all expenses paid trip to Mexico. Out of all the places we could have went with me and Carol just, but back to family. I'm definitely that family guy, for wanting an expression. But yeah, Mexico, unbelievable. Somewhere I've always wanted to go. And now, just by spending a few hours here and there, messaging and speaking to friends and family, I've been able to do it. So I've got a holiday to Mexico. I've helped my own income get replenished from income that I've lost. I've helped other people's outgoings reduce and and have a better life, and as well as that, spend more time with family. I guess I keep going back to family. I won't apologise actually for it, because it's massive for me. So being here, creating more time and more memories, I guess, right now is what it's all about. So that's a tip of the iceberg, the Mexico stuff. But as you know, I've also managed to to get a few other incentives along the way.
Please feel free to brag. I give you permission to brag. Go for it.
So one of the latter ones was the cocktail making experience, which, would you believe, a virtual cocktail making experience on Zoom. So that was really interesting. I think some of the concoctions I made seemed to be a bit stronger than they were maybe meant to be, because after a few drinks I felt definitely on my way, as I was getting louder and more confident on a call with people I didn't know. Because if you remember, it was like all over the place. It wasn't just us, so people from all over. I had that, and I can't remember what it was, Spencer, but do you remember for one of the start-off days or something, they sent like a hamper type thing? It wasn't the Christmas hamper, but it was like
afternoon tea. Afternoon tea and things like that, wasn't it?
So, flags and actually hoodies and t-shirts and whatnot. So that was there. I missed out by one customer for that's exactly it. Yeah, still got it. Actually, I need to get my notepad replaced. Actually, so I've taken plenty of notes. So that'll be the next thing to buy. I missed out for Christmas dinner by one family at the time, but at the time, so everybody knows, we were offering free Christmas dinner for customer for partners. Trying to think what else I got. The marketing box, that was always a good one, to be fair. The marketing box, and I've just got the email today about the 3. I can't want to say Pampered Chef. It's not the
Mindful Chef.
Mindful Chef. Sorry, Pampered. Mindful Chef meals for the family, or can donate, like I said I would as well. So I think in that year I've only missed one incentive. But I said to you before, if I was going to miss anything, miss that or miss whatever, but get me to Mexico, and there you go. I've done it. I'm so my little boy loves planes, and Erin loves getting away, and they're already speaking about it. And at a time when this year or last year has just been horrific, so is this year, and it might get worse, or it might get just as bad. Sorry, it's something to really, really look forward to. I'm hoping surely by July 2022 or whenever it's going to be, we'll be. Please don't put it back for another year, but yeah, just having something to look forward to in life for a change is great. So yeah, I am over the moon. So these are the sort of opportunities that can come about, and I've not by any stretch pushed it. It's just speaking to people you know, and just letting them know what it's all about, and helping others help others, and so on and so forth. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. And you deserve absolutely everything that you've had, for sure.
Thank you so much.
It's been a privilege and a pleasure to see. Just you go from I wouldn't even say your glass was half full. I would say it was a quarter full. You were a bit skeptical, okay? Absolutely. Whereas my glass is always full. If it's half full of water, half full of air, it's full of something. Exactly. Water, air, combination, whatever. But to see you develop, to see how your family are benefiting from it, and I cannot wait until July 22. When you're in Mexico, seeing all the pictures and hearing all the stories and everything, and just what the kids are going to be like, all the stories that they're both going to be, Erin and Riley, are going to be able to tell you, is just going to be fantastic. A memory that will live on for a long time. And what have you done? You've helped other people.
Exactly.
and helps your family at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's
Sure.
I think it's awesome. I think it really is.
Thank you so much.
Don't thank me. You did all the effort. We just gave you the tools to make it happen.
Thanks to those who are listening and the wider group. I'm always here to help anybody else who wants helped. So drop me a line, send me a message, do whatever you want, and let's try and make a better life for each other, I guess.
Absolutely.
Going forward. So
I think that's a really, really good point. I think we'll end that. If you're connected to Kevin in any way, shape, or form, and you want to know more, then please reach out to him and just have that conversation. Find out what it is, what it entails, etc., and how it can benefit you. There are more and more and more people needing what we need now more than any point in history because of the COVID and the financial impact that that's having. If you're not connected, but you're connected with me, send me a private message. Let's have a conversation. We can take it from there for sure. But it really has been great to have you on, and I know you're super nervous to begin with, but you're clearly not nervous now. You can see you come down. You can see you come down.
You mentioned Mexico.
Absolutely. Just think you can smell those fajitas.
I know. That's what I say. Arriba.
Arriba.
Definitely.
But if you're watching this and you've watched this at any point, please share this as well, because there'll be other people that we can positively impact. That's my personal mission statement, is to positively impact millions of people's lives. People don't know what we do because people don't know what they don't know because they don't know. So by sharing this, sharing is caring, as they say. So please share this link to others, and you just never know how you could impact that. I'll give you an example. A lady who I had a conversation with about 5 weeks ago, she introduced me to her brother. She's in Glasgow, he's down in Gloucestershire, and 3 weeks past, he's joined this business, and within the first 2.5 weeks, he's made £3,000 to top up his furlough wages. Now, he's getting married next year, and he needs that extra income to pay for the wedding. That's the sort of things we can do. So maybe you sharing this, you could be just like Emma, who shared with somebody else, and we've been able to positively impact. And that is the tip of the iceberg for that gentleman in particular. So please share, get in touch with Kevin, top man. And by the way, make sure you follow him on Facebook just so you can see all the pictures of Mexico.
Definitely. Thanks for your time, Spencer.
Thank you for yours, Kevin. Been a real pleasure. Thanks very much now.
Have a nice night.
You too. Take care.
Bye.